Hello, good afternoon YouTube. Welcome back again to my channel. Again, my name is Max. I have a condition, it's called retinitis pigmentosa. I do have a video on my channel if you'd like to go learn more about what that is. But just for a quick understanding, it's pretty much a condition that causes you to go blind. I just wanted to talk today about, as I mentioned in my last videos, I wanted to talk about when it comes to, as you guys know, I'm searching for work. I'm trying to get back to work. And I wanted to talk about the difference. Well, if you watched my last video, I remember talking about the different reactions you're going to get from different interviewers, recruiters from different jobs. And so I wanted to talk about overcoming some of those objections that you're unfortunately, or fortunately, or unfortunately, however you want to see it, will face. The ways, and I say fortunately, unfortunately, because some people see it as a bad thing, but I say fortunately because, I mean, here's the thing, is recruiters for jobs, their responsibility is to hire the best of the best to do a job, do whatever the job entails. And obviously, being a blind person, there's a lot of concerns about that when it comes to recruiters hiring you for a job. So today's video, I just want to talk about one example that I had where I got some kickback, or not kickback, but I was put to the test and I failed in overcoming the objections, and I did not get the job. And I want to talk to you about the one time that I did overcome those objections, how that went, and how I was able to get that job. So the first one I want to talk about, I was trying to remember the name of the company because this was like 2 or 3 years ago, really. So I can't remember the name of the company, but it was like Contracts or something like that. It was like some type of healthcare phone call center, call center, but I can't remember exactly what the name of the company was. Anyway, so I submitted my resume, and I got a email for a request for an interview. So I set up an appointment, and at this point everything was still kind of shut down. So the interview was it was a work at home position, so I was gonna work from home anyways. And so so I set up an interview, and then I got a phone call, answered the phone call, and from the first part of the couple minutes of the interview, everything was normal and fine. Just basic information, giving the recruiter just basic information on my background and my interest in the position and why I think I would be good for the job, all that kind of typical stuff that you go through during a job interview. But then it came to one part, and this is where things kind of fell apart, and that's when the interviewer, she had asked me to connect with her on a remote desktop. For those who are not familiar with that, it's pretty much when you connect with somebody somewhere else to a server, and then they can kind of see what you're doing on your screen. And so that's what we did, and she had me go to a website, and then while I was on this website, she said, can you find this, or can you determine this information? She wanted me to find something on the website. The goal of this was to see how quickly I'm able to navigate around the website to find the information that I need to get. You guys could probably imagine, being visually impaired, never been in that website before. I had no idea what anything was, and so it took me a while to find it. And so she said, okay, don't worry about it. We'll try something else. And then we tried another one, and again failed. So, I told her, I said, I was like, typically I'm pretty good with this kind of, finding stuff on the computer. But, when I'm familiar with the page. And she said, okay, don't worry about it. So she said, we'll just continue on with the interview. So we talked a little bit more, and then we hung up, and that was it. couple days later, I followed up on it and got a response, and she said, you know, kind of that what they tell you when you don't get the job pretty much is, hey, we considered you, but we found better candidates for the job. So thinking back on it, I think in that situation, I think what I could have done a lot differently was explain to her my situation, that I was visually impaired. Because like I said, this was a over the phone interview, so I wasn't in person. She had no idea that I was visually impaired. And because of that, I feel like if I would have explained to her the situation and let her know, like, listen, this is happens. Just like I do in almost every job interview that I go to overcome those doubts, is I explain to them, listen, once I get familiar with what I'm doing, with my space, my workspace, I'm very proficient. So that in that situation, when I went to that webpage for the first time, I was very unfamiliar with it, so I didn't know what anything was. Whereas if I studied that webpage, I already knew where everything was. As soon as I logged into that webpage, then obviously I would be familiar and I'd be able to find things quickly. But obviously, since I didn't explain that at all to the recruiter, I feel like that was a fail on my part. And not to say that she would have hired me if I would have told her that, but it could have. I think I possibly could have changed the outcome of that whole interaction. But moving on, so I want to talk about the second example here. So the second example is going to be a one that I did get a lot of pushback from, heavily actually, and I was able to overcome pretty much every one of their objections. Sorry, I'm gonna get a drink of water here real quick. It is 90, I believe it's like 97 degrees out right now, but it's not bad. Out here in the great Yuma County area. Anyway, so the other one was for that last job that I spoke about in my previous videos, and that was for AT&T. It's out here in San Luis, Arizona, just right on the border. But they have a call center out there, and so I sent my application. They immediately, saw that I have many years of call center work, so they said, yes, of course, come in for an interview. So I went in for that interview, and as soon as I walked in, I'm going to be honest, I walked in with my cane. I went to the front desk where the receptionist was, and she pretty much thought I was lost. She said, "Sir, can I help you? This is a call center." I said, "Yeah, I'm here for a job interview. You sure?" That's pretty much what she said. And I said, "Yes, I spoke with so and so, and they told me to come in for a job interview at this time. So here I am." And they said, "Okay, I'll go ahead and let them know." So, so I went to the waiting room, and I sat there, and I heard her go walk in and say something to him, and he was like, "Are you really? Are you sure he's here for an interview?" And anyways, that's beside the point. But so I went over there, and he said, came out. He said, "Hey, I heard you're here for an interview." He said, "I don't got any information on you, but come in." So I went in there, and at first he was trying to. I guess he couldn't find my resume and stuff like that. But after doing a little research, they did ended up finding my information, and that's when the interview started. So I'm gonna tell you how this interview started. It wasn't like, why are you interested in working with us, or what is your background? It was none of that. The first thing he said, and you know what? I don't blame him for this. In fact, I appreciate him for this. And but he just said, listen, man, I noticed you're here with the cane. How much can you see? I said, well, I have tunnel vision. It's a very small window of vision that I can see through, but I do have, it is usable. And I said I wear glasses and stuff like that when I use a computer and stuff like that. And he said, okay. He said, I'm gonna be honest, man. It's just we're using like 13 different applications, and we're working on 2 different screens. And after a little bit of back and forth of explaining to him, he pretty much just straightforward told me, I don't see how you're gonna be able to do this job. And that's unfortunately something that you come across all the time. It ain't not even just everywhere in general, really, people's skepticism. But yeah, that's pretty much what I got from the gentleman, the recruiter. And at that point I was like, that's it, job interview is over. But I decided, you know what, because this town was it's like 30 miles south of the town that I live in now, so I had to like get up, get extra early, get on the bus. It took about 45 minutes to get down there, because the bus has to stop and go, and it makes stops through multiple towns on the way there. I said, I am not leaving here without this job, like, I know I can do this job. I just need the opportunity to do the job. And what I needed to do was to make it my mission and my goal to convince him that I could do the job enough where they give me the opportunity to prove to them I could do the job, if that makes any sense. So I proceeded to tell him, I said, I've been doing this for 6 years. There's my resume. You can contact any of those recruiters, any of those supervisors that I've had in the past, and they can explain to you how efficient that I was and what kind of performance I had, if you'd like. And he was trying to be nice, and I get it. He was in a difficult situation because in his mind he doesn't see how I could do the job, but he also doesn't want to be rude about it. And he was explaining like here's the thing, man, is that we have to answer to, because if any of you guys know, call centers are vendors. They're not actual companies. They're vendors for the companies that they service. So he says, we got to answer to AT&T, and we got to keep all these metrics. And if you can't keep up with everybody else, we invest thousands of dollars into your training. It's like $20,000 into your training. So it's an investment for us to invest in you. And if that, so me as a recruiter has to sit here and say, do we want to invest $20,000 to help this candidate, this person applying for this job? Are we going to get a return on it? So I explained to him, I said, you could look at my resume, you can contact them. I said, if you want, you put me to the test, and there was a lot of back and forth. I'm trying to remember how exactly the conversation was, but this was like a year ago, actually more, like it was like 15, 16 months ago. So, but there was a lot of back and forth, a lot of skepticism, a lot of pushback. He really didn't want to straight up. I feel like he didn't want to straight up tell me just listen, man, I don't think you can do it. You're a blind person. I appreciate you coming in, but have a good day. But he was trying to be nice about it. So, he said, here's the other part. He said, this is the other part. You have to fill out paperwork sometimes. We give you some sheets that you have to follow with information. Can you read paper? I said, with my 2 eyes, no. But with my glasses and special equipment that I have, yes. So then again, another way I overcame that objection. And this is one of the biggest things, guys, is about being prepared. You need to be prepared for all these kind of things when you go into a job interview, because they're going to be asking these questions. But anyways, and those a couple other things that he kind of threw at me, some curveballs, but again, I overcame those objections. And I pretty much told him, I said, listen, man, I'm just asking you to give me the opportunity to show you, because I know I can do it. I've been doing it. I have a lot of skill and experience in doing this. I just need the opportunity to do it, for me to be able to show you that I am capable of doing it. Not only being proficient, but as proficient, if not more efficient than the other people around me. And he said, hold on, I'll be right back. So he left the room, and I'll tell you what happened after that. But so he left the room for a minute, and then he came back and he said, this is what we're going to do, man. We're going to hire you. But he said, not only are we going to hire you, we're going to buy anything that you need for you to be successful. He said, I just spoke to my boss, who's the lady in charge of the whole building, and she told me, go ahead and whatever he needs. If he needs a bigger monitor, whatever special equipment he needs, go ahead, ask him what he needs. We're going to buy it. we're going to invest in him. And that's what he came back with. I can't tell you the overwhelming relief that came over, because when he left the room, I pretty much thought that he was going to come back and tell me to pretty much kick rocks. But instead he came back and with not only telling me that that they were going to hire me for the job, but that they were going to purchase any equipment that I need to do that particular job. So that was absolutely amazing. I felt really accomplished, because that was probably one of the most difficult job interviews that I had, with so much pushback and so many rebuttals I had to overcome and stuff like that. And you know what? Maybe he did it on purpose, just to make sure that I was prepared for I guess the type of employee they wanted to hire, or I don't know, but I felt accomplished, because I walked away with the job. And again, like I said, I never been in a job interview where I had so much pushback, but it all worked out in the end. So and they held to their word as well, where the second week that I was there, they came in with a brand new huge screen, and their IT department came in and they let me install some of the programs, which I'm going to show you guys next week in next week's video, on the programs that I use to use the computer. But they went in to let me go ahead and activate it, because the computers they use are very much locked down for security reasons. For AT&T security reasons, they're very locked down, so you can't roam freely through the computer like it's a personal computer. So yeah, they kept to their word. I even after I got everything set up, which was by the end of like the third week of my training, I had gotten everything set up and everything ready to go. I walked into the same recruiter's office, and I sat down and I said, "Listen," because he was actually busy. He was getting ready to head out the door because it was the end of the day. And I went into the recruiter's office and I said, "Listen, man, I just want to let you know the training is going great. They got everything set up for me. I got everything I need, and everything's going good." And he said, "Good. I'm glad to hear, man." He says, they're telling, from what I've been hearing from the trainer, you are doing absolutely amazing. So I'm glad that we hired you aboard. And then, I did what you should do in that situation. I said, "You know what? Thank you for giving me that opportunity, take a chance on me, and go above and beyond by making sure that I had everything I needed to be successful in my job." That's something they did not have to do that, because they did not have to go out of the way to buy the equipment. They did not have to go out of the way to make special accommodations. They didn't have to do any of that, but they chose to. So I thanked him, and we shook hands, and yeah. So that was the example I wanted to talk about. That will hopefully help you in your journey when it comes to looking for work, because like I said, it's something you're gonna have to face every time. And I don't really blame employers. Obviously, think about it like this: if you own a business, you own a company, you want to hire the best of the best as well, right? And so there's nothing wrong when they ask questions. My objective, or my point, the goal of my mission of this video is for you to understand is be prepared. Be prepared in advance, actually, while you're looking for work, start thinking about these things. Okay, how are you going to use a computer? If you're not, well, start learning how to use a computer. Reading paper, you're going to have to fill out paperwork, right? How are you going to do that? How are you going to overcome that? And well, here, and let me give you an example for some of you who are completely blind. So after he said you hired and everything like that, he said, he sent me out back to the waiting room. He said, you got to fill some paperwork and stuff like that. I said, okay. I said, he said, well, can you see to fill out paperwork? I said, well, no. He said, well, you said you had equipment and stuff. I said, yeah, but I didn't bring it with me because, you know, I just came for the job interview. But if you want, I could take the paperwork home and fill it out and then bring it back. He says, well, no, the paperwork has to stay here in the building. It cannot leave. But I said, well, I got a magnifier on my phone. I can try to use that. And then he said, hold on, let me. He said, and then he said, well, and then again, that was one of the pushbacks was from the whole paperwork issue. And then, so I saw him like starting to question the whole idea again. So I just broke the silence and told him, well, hey, is there somebody available? We could spend a couple minutes just to help me fill it out real quick. And he said, hold on, let me ask if we're even allowed to do that because it's legal forms. And he left the room again, came back and said, don't worry, we got somebody who's going to sit down with you and fill out the paperwork. So don't be afraid to ask questions. You know, and like I said, think about these stuffs in advance. And this is why I'm hoping my video will help you to give you some ideas of how to overcome some of these objections. So I'm trying to think if there's anything else. There's a couple things I want to mention. I'm not going to go too much in detail on it. I just want to mention it briefly because I hear this so much. And, well, I'll just get straight to it. Everybody's talking about, oh, well, you know, there's that ADA that the government has, and technically they can't deny you a job because you're disabled and because you're blind and stuff like that. And in some perspectives, sure, but in reality, not really. That's not what that says. What that is they pretty much can't say, just like they can't discriminate against anything. Hey, we don't want you here because you're a Christian, right? They can't fire you because you're a Christian. It's kind of that same concept, right? They can't discriminate or fire you because of your disability. So the reason I bring that up is because I don't want you going in thinking like, well, they have to hire me because the ADA, who protects disabled people, says they have to hire me. They can't reject me because I'm a disabled. That's not what that says at all. So you need to go in prepared. If you're not prepared, well, get prepared. Practice every day. Whatever that job is that you're trying to do, learn it well. And I'm going to be honest, there's going to be jobs out there. There are going to be a lot of situations where, unfortunately, you know, you're going to have to work 10 times harder than the people around you. And it's just the reality of the situation. So whatever field of work whatever industry you're trying to go into, learn it and learn it well. Learn how to do that job as well, if not better than the folks around you. I suggest better than folks around you because that's going to, you know, give you an upper hand when it comes to getting a job. But learn how to do these things with your circumstances. Okay, don't expect the company. I was very lucky, like I said, and this is the first company who's actually ever did that, where they offered to accommodate me. Because most companies, they will not. They're not going to go and spend extra money than they already are investing in your training and other things to get you to work in their company. So don't go in there expecting so and so company to pay or to accommodate you in this way or the other way. Like I said, my best suggestion is just learn a skill. Learn whatever industry you're choosing to go into, learn it well, and learn how to do it with your accommodations. You go in there presenting yourself ready to work day one, right? Go in there already trained, go in there already prepared. Go there with the mindset like, hey, I'm going to start my job today and I need to be 100% today because I'm going to start working today. So, and like I said, don't be afraid to let them know your circumstance, let them know your situation, ask questions, and a lot of times that will lead a conversation. Like I said, where they'll be like, okay, we want to hire you. What do you need? You know, so I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I will add one more part, just as an advocate for people in my situation, because like I said, the statistics that I have been reading, shows that right now, people who are legally blind and actively looking for work, the unemployment rate is at about 70%, between 70 and 80. Different sources say different things, but between 70 and 80%, and that is obviously absolutely insane. Okay, because yeah, I mean, you guys know how the world works. You need money to live. On top of that, you know, just having a job offers you so much. Offers community, offers you being around people, socializing with other people. It just, like I said, the money's obviously the biggest thing, the number one thing. People have jobs, but there are other benefits of having a job, you know. So with that said, if you're an employer of a company and you're listening to this video, don't be afraid to give a chance on somebody. I hope, I'm pretty sure if you're hearing this, you've already heard about my experiences. But you know, you're gonna have skepticism, and don't be afraid. And I'm not saying it's not okay to have those skepticisms, but ask those questions. Ask questions. Find a way. As an advocate for this, what I'm trying to say, I guess, is try to find a way where you can help that person get employed. Okay? Whether it's their first job that they've ever had, or whether it's, you know, they're 50, 60 years old and they have 40 years of work experience under the belt, regardless of what the situation is. I really hope that you can find a way to help these folks get employed, like myself, get employed with your company. Just take a chance, you know. You never know. I know it's kind of hard to say because money talks a lot, and I get it. But, and at the end of the day, well, I guess that was a really poor way of phrasing it. What I'm saying is that you want to hire the best of the best, and I understand that. But just because someone is blind doesn't mean they're not going to be great at what they're doing. And obviously, and there's just, I mean, here's another thing, showing up, you know. You may have somebody who's absolutely amazing at the job, but only shows up 2 out of 5 days of the week, you know. But if you can have a blind person who maybe doesn't do the job as great, but does it pretty good, but shows up all 5 days of the week, I mean, come on, it's a no-brainer right there, isn't it? So, just, yeah, like I said, have these conversations. Don't be afraid to ask questions about limitations, and just, like I said, think outside the box and think of in the mindset of how can I help this person be employed? How can I hire this person? So, I think that's pretty much it today, folks. I really can't think of anything else to get to put in on this subject, but I just want to say thanks again for watching my videos. I'm really hoping that one day I can like make these more entertaining, because I know they're not quite as entertaining as I love watching YouTube videos, and of course people got all these music and well edited, cut it out videos, and their overlays, and looks all fancy and nice and entertaining. And then you watch like my videos and it's like, come on now. But pray that one day I have the patience to sit down for hours and do all that video editing and stuff, but as of right now I do not. But I hope to, because I understand that, you know, people become more entertained with that kind of stuff, and maybe I can get people to listen more to the information that I'm trying to provide. But I feel like if somebody wants the information that I'm providing, that they're going to listen regardless. But you know, who knows? We'll see. Anyways, stay safe, everybody. Thanks again for watching my videos. If you can, please leave me with a thumbs up video. I'm sorry, thumbs up video. Hit the thumbs up button, the subscribe button, share my video. The reason I ask you guys to do this is because that's how YouTube's algorithm works. The more it gets shared and the more thumbs up and subscriptions you get, it goes out into the algorithm and gets shared through the YouTube community. As much as you know, as I mentioned in the past, this is a monetary free YouTube channel. I will never, you'll never see advertisements. You'll never see donation links or membership links on my channel. This is all 100% free. I absolutely 100% enjoy doing these videos. I love providing this information. You know, I'm 31 years young now. I've been blind for quite a while. So I love being able to pass along my experiences to you guys who are blind, and for you guys who want to learn about blind folks. So I appreciate the thumbs up, the bell notification, and the subscriptions. Thanks again for watching. God bless each and every one of you, and stay safe. Have a great evening, folks.